Hello and welcome to an Unreal Engine video. Today we're taking a look at auto turrets. Now I'm in a blank third-person project. I added the first-person project content because we need to use the blaster from it and the projectiles and stuff like that. It just has a bunch of stuff that we need. So to get started, you'll need a few things here. First, you'll need a skeletal mesh component. Go ahead and create one of those. Now this will hold our, not the actor, you want the component. Now this will hold our turret, basically, or shoulder mounted turret, or whatever turret you want. It doesn't matter because we're going to be using an interface to differentiate what we're targeting. So we'll go ahead and just create those. Targetable. There you go. So we got a component, we got targetable. We'll need a data table for our tags. So these tags will control basically the state that the gun is currently in, or the turret, or whatever you want to consider it. It can actually really work for anything because the way that it works is it's going to auto align against vectors and then point whatever mesh or actor you have towards whatever has this interface. So yeah, that's just kind of how it works. So we're going to we're going to call this I'm gonna call it auto turret tags for now. And for these, you can name them whatever you want, but we'll add 3. One for auto. I'm gonna enabled. Yeah. I don't know how I want to put these tags, but I think they're just gonna be auto turret dot enabled. I'm gonna copy this so I can have the child here. The next one is going to be auto turret waiting. Basically, just waiting. Idle, I guess you could put it also. I guess idle would probably make more sense. Again, you can name these whatever you like. It's whatever. And then we want auto turret firing, shooting. That when you're in that basically when you're in that uh state. So we'll do fire. Okay. And we'll go to project settings. We'll go ahead and just add these tags. Go ahead and add these tags here. Fantastic. Oh, I accidentally double clicked. No big deal. Here we go. Add them right there. And we're good to go. Okay. Now, moving on. We are going to need a small little function the function library here, and this is just going to hold all of our calculations basically. Instead of keeping the calculations inside the component will handle the logic, where the function library will hold the functions that are needed, if that makes sense. So we'll need, let's see, just a handful of functions here. And now they're going to be a little weird at first, but don't worry. All they're doing is aligning vectors, basically. They're going to be helpful to align vectors. So we got this target 2y, z. So what this is going to do is this is going to take primary y, point the y vector with the z minimally changing. It's weird. It's weird. But we need 2 inputs for this. And you're going to need the current location and you're going to need the target location. And we're just going to do some, basically some math to figure out what we need to do to rotate a vector to point in this in a specific direction. So we're going to need another one here. We're going to have it with the direction output. Now this will be just like the actual like direction that the vectors are pointing in. No big deal. We will want a rotation as well. Rotation. So this will be the rotation that we'll need to make in order to align these two vectors, with the direction being a little bit of just a little bit of an extra. So in here we will need a get unit vector. And this is pretty self-explanatory. From our current location to our target, and this is just a simple, it just gets a unit vector. There's not much more to it, honestly. Let's see, we want another node here that's going to be a find lookout rotation, and same thing. Here we go. So we're just going to be calculating the rotation. We're basically figuring out the direction, which is this. So that's like the direction that the vector is pointing in. And then we need to figure out the rotation. So this one, we're going to need to do the get forward vector. Because we'll need to know, we need to know the rotation, but then we need to know the vector of that rotation. Because we need to basically wedge it into a make rotation from Y to Z. Yeah, from Y to Z. And Z is our direction vector, and Y is the forward vector. So Y is the vector that we are aligning, with Z being minimally changed, I guess, or something along those lines. Yeah, I don't know. It just works that way. I kind of got it, but I kind of didn't get it. Okay, well, we'll need to, we're going to duplicate this, and we're going to do one from X to Z, basically aligning X and Z, with Y being a little bit of an outlier. So this one we're just going to simply swap it out. That's it. We just need to swap out our X to Z here, and just we can just control click and just move these pins. That's it. Okay. So these are two utility functions that help us align vectors with each other. You can play around with these vectors. It does make it a little easier when you're playing it in like real world space to see what it actually does. Let's see. Our next function is going to be a little easy, because a little bit easier than doing this. All we want to do is loop through an array to find the nearest targetable actor. And it's not really necessarily a targetable actor, it's the one that has the interface on it. So what we want to do here is we want to take an array of hit results. Here. And basically this is going to be passed in from our our sphere trace on our weapon. So I'm just going to call this array. You can call it whatever you like. We'll need a local variable here, and it's going to be current iterating actor. So this is going to be basically just the actor that's currently in the loop. Basically just the cached actor that we're using. Easy enough. Okay, we will want to just go ahead and just set this to blank before we do anything. Now off of this, let's go ahead and do a for loop with a break, because basically, effectively, we just want to, the first result we want to get, we simply want to just return that one. Now you can do some more fancier math to do it some other way, but this will work for now. This will be fun. Now this is pretty simple. We'll just split this, take the hit actor, does implement interface, and we will simply select our targetable. Okay, and branch off of that. Set this on true, and then break if we found on true. Uh, And yeah, just clean these nodes up a little bit. Yeah, good enough, I guess. There you go. And then on the completed here, we want to just simply, well, actually, we do need to set this. Here we go. We do need to set that. Yeah, don't forget that. Anyways, we do need a return node. The return node, I'll just delete the default here and go grab this node here. And on completed, we can simply take our current iterating actor and just pass that back in. I will rename this to return actor, something along those lines. Just to make it a little easier on ourselves. Now the next one is basically the most common function you'll probably ever see, and it's the position from camera. And this one, yeah, it kind of probably looks familiar. We'll need an actor here. Not an array. Don't do that. Actor. We'll want the distance being whatever numeric digit you want. I'm using a float in this case. And off this actor, we're going to do get component by class and get our camera component. Camera component. We don't want the plural version of this. Sometimes I can't read. There we go. Now, off of this, we will want to make sure that we actually have it. So we'll do a very classic is valid. Good stuff. And off of this is valid, we will simply calculate your whatever distance you want. So off of this, you know the good old where is it? Get world location. Here it is. And then get forward vector add multiply, pass that in, pass that in. You know what you're doing. You're just this is going to be used for this is used for the line trace that you usually do, right? And off of this, let's see, we'll need a return. We'll delete the default value because we can simply just simply say off of the is valid to simply just say pass that out. And this is going to be the result position. All right, fantastic. Oh, we'll save this on compile as well. Great. Save that. All right, and that does it for our utility functions. Let's move over to the component now. All right, back in the component here, or we opened up the component here. So we're going to need a few things. This is where all the meat and potatoes are. Let's start off by deleting this event tick for now. We will need it, but we'll fill in some of the blanks first. So we're going to need like a bunch of variables. And so, but the first variable, we'll need to know what the owner is. As character, cast a character. Now you can use an interface here instead of a cast call. Yeah, but for now, we will simply not do that. So we'll just take the character as character or owner, whatever you want to call it here, or if you have it as an interfaced actor, that can work as well. So the first here, the first variable we're going to need is, of course, our target. or a target actor. Our next one is actually going to be a target location, which will be a vector. Now, I divided this up because you can have a target actor, but you can also change the locations of wherever you're targeting. The target actor is just mostly a check for validation. The next one is going to be another vector, and this is actually going to be our look at location. Okay. The next one we will need is our rage, not range, and that's going to be whatever numeric value you like. I'm going to use a float. We can take a cooldown, which will also be a float. We'll take another vector here. That's going to be a projectile offset. Offset? That's wrong, and that's offset. There we go. Projectile offset. We will need something called a timer handle. What this is going to do is it's going to be the controller that's going to handle the timer. It's the timer handle. It's the firing handle, I guess. Shooting handle. Yeah. Let's see. We'll need a projectile class, because we want to know what class we are going to be using for our projectiles. That way, this is going to be an actor. It's going to be an actor class reference. And we will need one more variable, and this will be our projectile scale. And this can be whatever numerical value you want. I will be using a float. Okay, so those are our variables that we will need set up. Fantastic. Now let's go over and we will create the let's create the shoot projectile. I think is the first thing we should do, because we need to do like a handful of things. We need to target, we need to shoot, and then we need to, well, we also need, oh yeah, I forgot, we also need a container here. Tag container. And this will be our gameplay tag container. That will hold our current tags of our current states of whatever the turret is currently doing. And so when it's like idling, we can say it's like targeting. When it's not, we can do something else. Actually, I said we were going to do let's do the targeting, because it's actually a fairly substantial method, although it's not that hard, or fairly in-depth. So for the first one, for the first sequence here, so we'll start off with sequencing, because what we want to do off the first one is we want to check to see is our actor is valid, not the Boolean one. Because basically, if we find an actor, a targetable actor, excuse me, if we find a targetable actor, we want to update the targeting position, or the target location. I mean, I guess you could call it target position. That's fine. Off of here, let's go ahead and get the location. Get actor location, and that's going to be our target location, or set it. There you go, set. Off the is valid, we want to set it. Off the not valid, we want to actually set the look at location to, or set the target location to the look at location. So we want to fall back. We effectively just want to fall back to this look at position, which will just be a wherever we're looking at the current time. Now off the next one, let's see. We want to do a position from camera. So this is going to be our utility function that we used. And this will have your distance, which will be your range. And then the actor will be your owner. Well, you could do the get owner, or you could do the character here. That's fine too. If you are using an interface, it's sometimes you don't have the actor reference because that's through the interface. But this will be the lookout location. What a surprise! It's the position from the camera. It's the lookout position. Cool. All right, straighten those out. Let's go. Make them look nice. Here we go. All right, let's add another 2 pins here. Because, so our first one, we're just setting up the targets. So then our third step, you might be able to take a guess, and that's going to be our target. Target to Y to Z. So what we're doing is we're aligning the gun or the blaster's Y vector, or yeah, it's green, Y vector to the position that we're looking at. If that makes sense. Okay, so but the current location here is going to be our get world location. So it's going to be our current location with the target location that we want to figure out. So whatever our position is, we want to figure that out. We want to target it to the target location, basically. And then that'll give us all of our different rotations and things like that. And so off of this, we can say a set rotation. A set world rotation here, and just plug in the rotation. So that'll rotate our component to point with the Y vector pointing to where we're looking. Now it's the Y vector because that is what it is in the static mesh. If you look at it, it's aligned along the green arrow is pointing forwards, where normally sometimes that's why we needed the 2 functions. Basically, we needed one to align the Y vector, and we needed one to align the X vector, because some meshes use X and some use Y. Now our last one is going to be the sphere trace. Multi-sphere trace by channel. Go ahead and just align these. Okay. Now off of this, our start and end location is, because spheres are weird in Unreal, we're just going to take the look at here, and we're going to plug them into both. So effectively, we're just going to create a sphere at wherever we're looking, which is going to be whatever this range is. So whatever our range we set is from our camera. And yeah, you can guess our radius is going to be our range, because basically we're going to look at the range from the camera. Now this is better in first person, but it is what it is. We can show it off in first person, but third person might be a little weird, because it'll be defaulting to your. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. It's weird because it'll technically be like shooting behind you in third person. You can fiddle around with this, but we need to then find the targetable actor. Here we go. Just plug that in. So this will give us an actor, and that will be our target actor. Okay, so that should be it for our targeting. So this effectively sets our location that we're going to be looking at through a sphere trace. So we'll take whatever sphere trace we're looking at, and we'll find it at that location, and that will be what the blaster will be aiming at, basically. Okay, let's move on to the shooting of the projectile here. And this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Although since we're using the blaster, it is a little weird. Because basically, let's see, get socket location. The socket that the ball will spawn from is called ammo, and you can open that up in the skeleton and see all the sockets there. But we will be spawning it from ammo. Now from this here, this is where we want the ZX one, target to X to Z, because this this actor is aligned along the x-axis, where the gun or blast or whatever you want to consider it is aligned along the y-axis. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, let's go ahead and just get this target location and plug in our target location. So we're going from our socket location to the target location that we're looking at. And so this is going to align the projectile from the front of from the socket location into the direction that we want to look. So off of this, we can then do the spawn actor, and we can just plug in our actor class. Now we're doing it this way because we can plug in a bunch of data. We can do primary data assets or data assets, and we can create our own stuff and then just plug it in here for our values. Yeah, off of this projectile class, we can split this transform, and now we need some variables here. Now, of course, as you probably noticed, we have the rotation, because that's what the calculation does. However, the transform location needs just a little bit more off of this. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the projectile offset, and this we were going to rotate it. Rotate it around this rotation. So we're going to rotate our offset to match our rotation that we're targeting. Make sense? It should. It's just like it's moving the offset along with the gun, the blaster. And then we add this to the socket location, because that's basically what we're doing. We're finding how we need to rotate this vector to match where we want to fire the ball. Okay. And the scale we got here, we can just simply plug that in, have it have a little transform node here or whatever, and that should be it. Now let's see, we can add a small return node here, and basically that can just return this projectile reference. And if you need that for anything, I mean, it's there. You can use it. Yeah, so this will spawn our projectile facing in the direction that our blasters are looking. Cool. Okay, now let's go back to the event graph. And what we need to do here is we need a handful of things. And so the first thing we'll do is on the event tick, we so happen to just absolutely get rid of, but we'll bring him back here. He's cool. On the event tick, we'll do the targeting. Easy stuff. Now we'll probably hold off on doing the gameplay tags, but the gameplay tags will just be hashtag do this, hashtag do that, or hashtag do this. But for now, let's go ahead and just see if we can get this up and running real fast. So we've got the begin play, we've got the event tick, which is going to tick the targeting. And now the next thing we need is to set up the handler here for the timer. So for this, you can set up a few custom events, and by a few I mean 4. just go ahead and spam that Control D. So the first one will be a setup timer, or setup auto timer. Basically the timer that's gonna fire your projectiles. And then we'll have a one that has fire, because that will be fire. And can you guess what that does? Yep, it shoots our projectile. Fantastic. Now on the auto timer here, what we do off of this is we'll do a set timer timer by event. And what this will do is we'll trigger an event every however long you set the time for. That's it. So as you can see, we already have our cooldown here, which will be our time. Cool. Make it looping, and we'll take this event and we'll plug it right into here. So every cooldown, so we'll set the cooldown to like something like 1 second or something here. So every 1 second looping, it will fire a projectile. Now, we also want to set this handle off of this, so we can do a set, and we'll just plug in the timer handle here. Okay. And the next two here are both for pause, pause, like pause, like cat pause, pause, fire, and then unpause, fire. Basically, it's just gonna swap between turning on and off the timer. So we can use this handle to pause the timer and re-enable it so it can, so whenever we need to continue to fire, we can continue to fire. If we don't need to, we can simply just pause it and have it for later. And we've got the setup here, or the setup here, which can automatically reset up everything. So with that, we want to, well, I mean, it should basically be good to go. We need to set up this timer. Where do we begin? Was this in the begin play? Yeah, I think we want to set this. Yeah, of course we want to set this up in the begin play. We want to set the auto turret thingamajog timer here. So set timer. Set what did I call? Set auto timer. What? Set auto timer. There you go. So it'll just set up the timer and it'll be good to go. All right. Let me go and attach this to our player, because this should be absolutely fantastic. Now, let's see. So if I go over to the third person character in the blueprints and in the character itself, let's see. Let's go ahead and just add actually, you know what? Yeah. Add the component. So auto turret. Here we go. Now there is no static mesh, skeletal mesh, so we'll use the blaster. Wherever that is. Here it is. We use the blaster. Now you can see it being aligned. Well, I mean, it just flipped it there, but you can see it being aligned. Is it 90 this way? No. Wait, why is this transform wild like this? I don't know. Weird. Anyways, it's not like it matters because we're simply. Why did that do that? What is going on here? Why does this? Just like what? Hello? That's wild. Why is it doing that? Huh. It just took off. What was that? Jeez. It's like 100 by 100 here. Nope. 100 here. Nope. I mean, it doesn't actually matter because we just want to simply. It's not. Oh, this is rotation. That's why. Hang on. Why is the rotation very weird? Oh, I think I know why the rotation is really weird, because it's yeah, because it's trying to target something, but it can't. Or let's see. Did we set up the range? me set up the range here. Let me just okay, let's see here. We are going into just lost my stuff. Here we go. Now we got the range. The range is not set, so 500 range. Do that. Compile. Let's go ahead and add a static mesh actor. Go ahead. BBSK box. Target box. Go ahead and add the targetable interface. File that. Where's our cube? Where's our fancy cube? There we go. Now let's pull this in. Drop it down. And where's our character? Let me just see here. What's our character looking like now? Viewport, very weird. What do I have play? Yeah, we can see it's targeting. Oh, it's for some reason it targets but you can see it. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird. It's targeting the character for some reason. I think that's because the camera. Oh, it's because the camera's weird. I see. Well, either way, when you walk up to this next to this box, you can see it targets that. So targeting. Now let's see why the projectiles aren't firing. It should be firing automatically. Do we have the auto activate on? What's our cooldown? Cooldown's 1. Looping, firing handle, shoot projectile, set auto. Okay, so that should be fine. Is it the projectile offset? Let's see. I think the default, first person projectile offset is 100 by -10. It's still not firing the projectile. Never mind. Don't give me 5 minutes, because I'm an absolute monkey. I forgot to set the projectile class. Oh, I'm an absolute... Oh, okay. Anyways, BP first person projectile. It didn't even take me like 2 seconds to figure that out. Oh, it's still not working though. No, it is working. It's just yeah, you can see it there. It's spawning in a weird position. Shouldn't be. Should be spawning with the offset. All right, 5 more minutes. Maybe not. maybe within 10 seconds. Maybe we should set some default values to these variables that we set up. Oh geez, there we go. Pew 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 pew. Pew 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 pew. There we go. Finally. We had to do a bit of bug fixing, but it worked. We are now shooting it at various targets. And if you wanted to, we can simply clone these boxes like so, and simply run along them, and they will just target, 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 as we walk around, and just targets and targets and targets. Good stuff. All right, I'm out.